Girl, this year I have to get my ideas out of my brain and into the world. So I basically ended up planning out all my major creative projects for the year because they just have to be in the world. I'm just not going to be okay if I don't make the things that I want to be making. I'm not going to I got to hold me accountable and make things easy on myself. And the way to do that, have a plan. As a girly with a lot of ideas, that can get overwhelming. And what that usually means is less execution. So basically, I'm trying to focus on prioritizing making over thinking, especially because I've thought about all of these projects for at least like a year now, maybe longer, in some iteration. And so it's like, maybe it's time to, I don't know, get them out into the world and make space for something new, which is something I'm literally always talking about. So, yeah, I'm excited to do that. And I'm basically prioritizing 4 projects, pretty much one for each quarter. And that'll ensure that I get 4 bodies of work. They can vary in number of paintings and that kind of thing. Like, I'll figure that out as I approach the projects each quarter. But yeah, one sort of major body of work each quarter that falls under themes that I'm super excited about. And for a second, I was like, am I being too rigid? Like, is this going to be fun? But I pretty much decided, like, yes, you can, like, I can change the months around if I want to. I can add other themes if I want to, like, swap out the theme. And I can also still paint for fun and, like, do other stuff. It's not like all I can paint is things that fall within these project themes. So once I got that squared away and figured out, it made me feel like this is still a good plan for me, and I'm not gonna like take the fun out of my painting because that's not what we're here for. So it got a little morbid for a second, but how I decided what I was going to prioritize and like what projects I wanted to do was basically like, if this was my last year painting, what are the bodies of work I would want to leave behind or like make sure I'd made? And that really kind of helped me prioritize the different project ideas that I have. And another part of the planning was like basically organizing the project such that the subjects and like topics are things that I've already painted before and that I'm like really familiar with. And then the things that are later in the year are topics that might also include styles that I'm not super familiar with. And so that gives me time throughout the year to practice those skills before I get to those projects. So an example is like for one of them, I want there to be like surrealist elements to the paintings. And I haven't done a single surreal painting. So maybe I should do some practice ones in like Q2 or Q3 in preparation for that Q4 project that will hopefully have surrealist elements. So yeah, just trying to think about like how can I bake in time to learn what I need to learn so I can push my work in the ways I want while also not like doing too much and trying to like learn a bunch of stuff while I'm also trying to paint the things and say that this is a body of work and whatever. So yeah, that I think also kind of helped me be excited because I'm like, cool, I know that I can be learning and practicing for these other themes that'll come later in the year while I'm painting for the earlier series in the year, which just keeps things feeling like balanced and exciting, and it's not like overloading on any one kind of thing. I had to get my laptop out because I want to make sure I don't forget any of the project ideas. So, okay. Basically, I've broken them out by quarter, and Q1 will be a series of paintings that feature portraits of people in sunglasses. And I'm really excited about this because people always compliment my sunglasses. I've painted out, feature, or insert some of my work that has people in sunglasses. But yeah, it's like a common thing that I love to paint. I love sunglasses and accessories. And I also think there's a conversation to be had about masking and like how sunglasses can, like they're functional, obviously. Sometimes you might have clear lenses. That's not keeping you from anything, but they might make you feel more comfortable or make you feel more confident or more chic. And so you move through the world in a different way. And yeah, I really want to talk about like how aesthetics can shift our confidence and also feature people who look super cool and really interesting sunglasses or people who I think are interesting. So that's project for Q1. super Q2. So in Q2, I want to do a series that is like portraits and objects that are either digital objects or portraits that are influenced by like some digital things. So maybe it's like a selfie, kind of similar to this, but also there's some other things I want to get into. Like think of the like Windows 98 background type, Microsoft Paint type things, and then how does that sort of relate to like the human experience of like those digital things. So I have a name for that one, but I kind of want to save it, but it's rooted in a phrase that exists, was like a big deal for me in my design career that I'm trying to sort of like reclaim or redefine for myself. And so I'm excited for the overlaps in like that topic, and just excited to also be able to paint some like random objects that I really like. I think the Tamagotchi that I have in the shop is like a good example of like one way that that series can go. And then this sort of portrait with the girl in the selfie is like another way, but I kind of want to find a way to like unify those things. So I'm excited for that as well. Yeah, it's just making me really amped. I'm sitting here like, why am I not painting these things right now and like planning these series? So I'm like, that's a good feeling for knowing that like when I get to them, the work will amp me up and keep me inspired to get the project done. All right, Q3. 3 is my favorite number also. Q3, we have a series about women and rest. And for me, it's really like an exploration of what rest looks like for women today and how that can be seen as risky in an environment that is driven by productivity and money making. And like I struggle with figuring out like what's the right amount of rest for me. Like I am notorious for not enjoying naps. If I could like not have to sleep, I would absolutely be down for that. And that's probably like that's crazy. So that's unhealthy, and I'm always feeling like, what am I missing? What could I have gotten done if I didn't have to sleep? And that's probably not a good way to be thinking about rest. So I really want to explore just like one. I also get like a lot of my really good ideas during idle time. So being bored and that kind of thing is really important. And I'm trying to find more spaces to just like let my mind wander and not like go to grab my phone after because I have to have like a 15-second wait at a red light. Like that's that's not okay. So yeah, I think just like using the idea of rest for women in this age and exploring that visually is something that I'm really interested in. Okay, and then for Q4, I want to focus on a series that explores like being both overstimulated and understimulated. And this is something that I say to my wife all the time, like over under, which is like there's so many things happening, but the quality of those things is like you feel overstimulated because of the volume, but the quality is so bad that you're kind of still understimulated. Like trying to multitask and do a bunch of things at once, you don't really get to enjoy all the things that you're doing because you're kind of all over the place. And also just like in this era of digital like fog, it's hard to sort of find the things that really resonate with you and that make the internet fun when there's also all this like slop that everyone's talking about. And I feel like I've curated my feed such that I really get to enjoy the internet. But yeah, just thinking about like how digital and online interactions influence your real world feelings in your body and what it is like to experience mental health challenges with all of the sort of like digital chatter and everything. And so, yeah, I want to do a series. This is the one that has like the surrealist elements of just being both overstimulated and understimulated. And also, as a neurodivergent person, there's just always too much going on for me and what that feels like for me in my body. And like you could be somewhere and be totally dissociated. And I know that's the case for like so many people. And so documenting more of like that feeling and what it's like is something that I really want to do and that has been on my mind since like early last year. And overall, I think just like all of these projects really align with my lived experience and the things that I think about all the time and the values that I care a lot about. And I love that this schedule sort of moves from like, yes, I think there's like a broader conversation around all of these things, but it moves from sort of like a lighter, playful sort of conversation starter, I think, to something that might be a little bit more grim and not necessarily the kind of work that I would put into my shop but more the kind of work that I think tells the kind of stories I want to tell. And the like not everything is meant to be on your wall. This is more. So yeah, that's my broad painting plan for the year. I'm so excited to have just different topics to sort of ground my work. And that feels really good for my neurodivergent brain, like something to come back to and not always be wondering, like, what should I paint? What am I making? I'm already plotting on some mini series, and ultimately I really just think like approaching my work in this way will help me package it better on my website and for different print launches. And I can show and pitch my work to galleries and different opportunities in a more cohesive way, that each series sort of tells a story that's driven by my voice and my experiences. And I think as an artist, that's what sets me apart from other artists, is just knowing exactly what my values are and what's important to me, and then making sure that I'm showing my work in a way that aligns with that. So if you've made it this far, drop a pencil emoji in the comments to let me know you understand my plan. And I can't wait to share my process with y'all. So don't forget to like and subscribe so you can keep up with the journey. All right, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.